Okay. But boom. Hey, this is the Hiring Fish. My name is Patrick, and welcome. I just hit that live button, and I'm thinking about yesterday when Nick came in, and Nick was like, "Hey, are you like paying attention to the chat?" And then 5 minutes later, I was like, "Oh, hey, hi, hello, welcome. Oh, you already left? Okay, fine." So today I'm going to be building a spread, a novelty spread with these Spencer's tarot cards. Look at all this table today. You see this? Kind of. See up here. Oh, I don't want to touch this, but I'm gonna do it. Ooh, 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 ooh. See, I don't need to see my legs. Ooh, and then it's all that. You see? I can't win. One second, y'all. It's just like a lose-lose. Lose, lose, lose. And at first I was like, oh, I'm just going to go with it. I don't necessarily care that much, but, you know, here I am. So, oh well. Oh. Good enough. Y'all can see all this up here, but that's fine. Hopefully it ain't like no water bottles down there. I know. I'm a Pisces, okay? I'm a mess. And I don't got no... I feel like the one placement I would have that would save me besides Virgo is Leo, and that's where I have my Chiron. So I don't necessarily too much care, but you know, I try to clean it up a little bit. Anyway, so I was gonna title this like 617. Come build a spread with me. Do you see all these colors and stuff? That's fine. But that's what I'm gonna. Oh wow, that was quick. 10 of Cups. Leviathan. Oof, that's a lot of water. That's like drowning in emotion. With the King of Wands and the Ace of Swords at the cut. Okay. So maybe some King of Wands coming forward with some kind of truth about some Ten of Cups. That matters. Maybe not. So first card I'm going to pull is going to give me the number of cards I have. Second card is going to give me the title. Third card is going to give me the overall flavor. And then I'm going to pull cards for every spot to see, and I'll write it down. So I got my little thing over here. That's my homework. I was doing this problem. Like, I know I'm not doing this wrong, but why am I not getting the right answer? And so I go to the homework because there was a problem in the homework. So I go to the homework and I've worked this one problem and I had the same issue. But then I'm like, no, wait. And so I didn't have the issue. And then I go back to the notes because I'm like, well, I did everything according to the notes that they have uploaded, and they forgot a negative sign. So my numbers were way too big because it was exponential. So instead of exponential decay, I got exponential growth because I'm sterilizing something, right? And then, so I get that figured out, and then the program wants to crap out on me. I'm like... Okay, so y'all let me get enough movement done so I know what I did wrong. I tried to force something to be positive that wasn't positive. It's supposed to be negative. And so I remedied the situation, or I try to, but when it comes to actually solving it, then the program wants to stop. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe there's a message in here somewhere. I'll just go live because I wasn't going to go live today, but I guess whenever I don't do that work, I do this work. And my third eye area has been just like this interesting sensation every time. Every time. So I'm doing this because I want to keep it a little lighter today. That's the intention. So first I'll get a number of cards. 6. 6 of Swords. The Harpy. Love that. So we're going to have 6 cards. Oh, y'all can't even see it. One moment, please. Oh, see my feet. I mean, my feet are tiny, but you know. There we go. Now y'all can see her. So next card, we're gonna give this 2 shuffles and then a cut, and it's gonna be the title of the spread. I love these cards so much. And some of my decks actually been talking to me lately. Sometimes it's like I gotta pull, and when I pull, it's fine because it's just, you know, I need to be a little bit more present and or involved when that happens. There we go. Ooh, is that the strength card? It is the strength card. So Manticore. This is gonna be the Manticore spread. Love that. These are some good cards. I hope this energy carries through. Watch it be like all good and then it comes out like all bad. So the Manticore spread. And with this being a 6-card spread, it would fall within the realm of the 6s, but also within the major realm of the Lovers and 15, the Devil. Oof. Well, it's all about choices, so nothing to necessarily oof about, right? It's all about either we make the choices for us or someone else makes them. Either we make our choices or something, or someone else makes our choices for us. Okay, and then overall theme. Okay, that's way too much. Just like 1 or 2, maybe 3 at the most. Overall theme. Yeah, overall theme. Okay, see. Wait, was that well, the Ace of Swords, Quetzalcoatl, and I think I saw another one in here, maybe. Maybe not, actually. So this is the, oh yeah, it's right here. Oof! Death. Okay, see, that's exactly what I was talking about. I mean, but this is a surgical energy, right? This is giving me the energy of like removing a tumor or some kind of growth that it's like before it spreads and we have to sort of like really go in. So I want to write these details down, or yeah, I'll just jot them down really quick. So, and then I wanted to do, I think I'll just upload that. I'll do a Cancer. Okay. So that's what I'll do. See, but I want to do that. See, I'm in this space where it's like I have this feeling that there's a lot of, I feel like I need to do something right now because I'm not doing much. And I feel like I need to do something because I feel a change coming and also I'm wanting a change. But every time I tap into the energy, it's like, you've done all you can do. You've done enough, just wait. And it's not that I'm not doing anything while I wait, because it's like I'm continuing to do things as they pop up. But it's not for anything necessarily, like, not for me to do anything necessarily drastic right now. And patience is a big thing for me, because I feel like if I really wanted to, I could manifest a new beginning. But something in me is like, don't be hasty. Allow it to play out. Like, okay, so like time is kind of an issue, but not really. I feel like I'm making it an issue. So this is a 6, Ace of Swords, and okay. So with the Ace of Swords and Death card, Both of these are okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this shape. I should build more spreads like this, especially if I don't have to if I'm not working off of a specific energy. Like with some of the spreads, I build them around the energy of the majors, and so those I introduce a little more intentionality. But oh. So right now I'm trying to figure out how I want to lay these cards out. Oh wait, maybe I can ask the cards. Okay, sure. So this is the theme because I also integrate shapes or geometry when I can. Well, pretty much always, especially when I do off of the majors. But so give me an overall shape. Can you do that? We'll see. And I guess this could be a fun exercise if you're a reader. This could be a fun exercise for you to do. I chose this deck because, again, I don't necessarily want to get into anything super heavy. But if it comes out, it comes out. And I'm actually going to be using the Witch's Tarot to read it. So I'm going to be building. That was way too much with this deck. Give me like 1, 2 cards at the most for the shape. I'm going to be building it with this deck, but then using that one to read. 3 of Swords, Alien. Oh, okay. So an interesting shade. Let's see. Give me like UFO vibes. So it would be something like this. See, but then with only 3 cards, that doesn't translate. Or with only 6 cards, it doesn't translate. I could have the overall, though. Well, let's pull another one. Temperance, the Seaman. Okay. So there is an element of symmetry here. Well, it could just be this. Or this. I like this better. All right. Got it. You can't see what I'm doing, so this is a little less, whatever. But I'm about to pull cards to in these spots. So you'll see soon enough the shape. Yeah, okay, I like the shape. The shape I'm going with. Oh, the login timer just timed out. I'm not even signed in anymore. Okay. This is so entertaining, right? Stuff. Hold up. I can even see this down. I'll just, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just not even gonna fight it. Okay. So I have the shape. I have the overall. And so this is clarity, but also excision. And so the shape fits how I want this to go. And so I'll keep this overall energy in mind as I pull these. How am I going to do this? I'm actually going to top and bottom this because that temperance came out. So this is like a 3-3 spread. Death is number 13, so it's actually a 4. Oh. Right. See, there it goes again. I want to play like, I haven't played like a Guitar Hero or Rock Band in a long time. DJ Hero, I love DJ Hero. So I got a PlayStation 3 for Christmas one year. And I got DJ Hero on the PS3. But then I exchanged my PlayStation 3 for an Xbox 360. And when I did that, I was fortunate enough to exchange DJ Hero from the PlayStation 3 to the 360. But then I got my PlayStation 3 back and I didn't exchange DJ Hero again. So, yeah, the few days I had it, it was amazing. I loved that game. And they had some interesting mixes. Ooh, the tower. Okay. So that's going to be an underlying influence with these. And I'll keep this here to remember that. This, I'm like, oh, I want something like lighthearted. Q Ace of Swords, Q Death, Q the Tower. Let's talk about oneness, because is that Ariadne? Arachne, that's Arachne. Okay, never mind. I was like, what? Because it's been on my mind. And like, I don't know, I guess I'd be interested to see what everyone else thinks. I feel like my stance on it is fairly clear. Like, I'm my own person and you're your own person. And if we take water and we pour 1 jug of water between 3 cups. Mimi, oh snap. Hope all is well with you as well. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I ain't really up to much. How you been? Because like if I take a jug of water and if I split it between 3 cups, and then in 1 cup I put some Kool-Aid with a whole bunch of sugar, in another cup I put some Tang, and in another cup I just leave it like as water, then like, are all 3 of those cups the same? Like, no, right? They're all different beverages. Just because they're all water-based doesn't mean they're all the same. Just because, like, you know, we all have the same, what? Oof, I should know how many amino acids there are. Just because we all got the same 23 sets of chromosomes. Y'all got, glad to hear it. Just because we all got 23 sets of chromosomes, I mean we all the same. Like the same, like we are all separate embodiments of that one universal consciousness. And so on a grander level, it's like, yes, we're all the same. But in a practical level, it's like we're not, and that's okay. You know? But I don't know. I don't know. Back to the world after this week. Possibly by the weekend. Nice. Are those post-lunar eclipse energies still getting you? I've been able to sleep, girl. Oh, I've been staying up a little later lately, but I've been sleeping in too. So, hey, I hope I can sleep after the solar eclipse. Okay, this is good. All right. So this is the general shape. It's like X shapes. I was like, oh, I love that. Okay. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Hold up. I need to go on back. Here and there, but getting better at maneuvering. Up late. LATE. And it's like I'll be in the bed, like ready to go to sleep. And then I'll see a video. Okay, so this will be 1 and 2. I can't remember which one came down. I know this one was first. So this is 5 and 6. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I do kind of like that a little bit. Ooh, I like this too, though. So we're going to do 3 up here and then 4 down here. Okay. So let's do our best. So position 1 is going to be the 5 of Swords. Angel, though. And I'll flip it that way so y'all can read it too. It's a little dark for me, but light for you, so I guess it's okay. Let's see, actually. No. 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 Not that this. Oh my gosh, okay. You hold still. Where is you? Okay, you hold still. And then I'll do that. Oh, you were supposed to hold still. I'd be. Oh, wow. Oh, wait, that actually works. Better. This allergy season, your eyes can feel better. Have y'all seen that commercial? That ad! I've been seeing that ad so much. I can't even remember what it's called. I should be able to remember as many times as I've seen it. This allergy season, your eyes can feel better. It's not Cymbalta. It starts with a sound. You've been working numbers like crazy. Oh, snap. A whole bunch of numbers the other day. It was like 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 1, 11, 333, 444. All right, so we got the 5 of Swords with the angel here. So I feel like this is a situation that we're trying to be delivered from, or an area to have grace. Area of restraint, area of grace / restraint. With that angel here, because the 5 of Swords can be a very unnecessarily combative energy. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles with the Minotaur. No, wait. Is this the Minotaur? Yeah, with the Minotaur. Shout out to Theseus, Ariadne, and the Labyrinth. Talked about the Labyrinth yesterday. Okay, so here's an area for us to have grace and restraint in the 1. But in the 2, and this is the Ace of Swords and Death. So this 2 is almost feeling like a perceived outcome or best case scenario. We'll see how this works in practice. When I actually pull them out, I might, or after I'm done, then we'll see how this all goes. Number 3 is the 4 of Pentacles, Echidna. And the Echidna is the mother of many monsters, mythologically. Well, these cars are a little washed out. Do these look a little washed out to you, Miyoshi or Mimi, or like, is it fine? Because it's like, oof, goodness. It's supposed to have all this mess. It ain't got like my webcam, my built-in webcam balances like light better than this, but it's fine. I'm just full of complaints. I am my mother's son. She got a Gemini moon, yo. Let me stop. If she knew I said that, she would be back here. Thank you. She's like, you your daddy's son too. It ain't just all me. Why you always gotta put the bad stuff on me? um, my dad's a Virgo though, so you know. Let's see. So this is the Four of Pentacles. So this is reservation. So this is the wow, mother of or the root blockage. That's what we'll call it. I was about to say the mother of internal demons. Let's say the root blockage here. This is the Manticore spread. Let me also, because the Manticore has the tail of a scorpion, like the head of a lion, the body of something. Let's ask Siri again. Complaining on point. Your grandma has a Gemini moon. Oof, my mama got a Gemini moon, bro. She ain't that bad though. She got a Pisces sun, so you know we chill. Hey Siri, what is the Manticore?
The Manticore is a Persian legendary creature similar to the Egyptian Sphinx that proliferated in Western European medieval art as well. Would you like to hear more?
Yes.
It has the head of a human, the body of a lion, and a tail of venomous spines similar to porcupine quills, while other depictions have it with the tail of a scorpion. There are some accounts that the spines can be shot like arrows, thus making the Manticore a lethal predator.
Okay. So 322. Pisces / Aries sun. She on the cusp. No, she Aries. She Aries all day with that Gemini moon. Let me stop. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Like, that's the thing about cusp. Well, I don't know about. I ain't really got no cusp in my chart to be able to say. So never mind. I'm all of my planets are pretty firmly like my moon is 27 degrees, and so like that's the closest thing I got to a cusp energy. But I'm Taurus moon all day. I mean, I get well, my South Node is in Gemini, so okay, you know. So with this number, so there's an element of like, let me write down some stuff. So we got potential for self sabotage with the tail stinging itself. I feel like that's something Hercules would do. With that Sphinx correlation, there's also some kind of misleading / riddly type energy. It's also chimeric. So this is multifaceted issues. It deals with ego and primal instinct with the face of a man, but all the animal parts. With the Manticore. And then on the Ace of Swords death side, it's excision, surgical excision. Revelations, that lead to reflection. And a birth of new possibilities. Because death is the rebirth, but with the Ace of Swords, it's being born into something that we weren't able to conceive of before. Okay, I should have did this first. That would have helped. That would have been nice. 44. Oh snap! Somebody said what he say. I've been watching Wrestling Around, and he said there was this one. So he does his zodiac readings based off of the Chinese zodiac, and that's really interesting. That's really interesting. He's the only person I saw doing that. So I was like, whoa. And there was one of them that came out with a whole bunch of master numbers. He was like, that's the master number of the fourth dimension, and it means, I forget what he said it means. So with this 3, yeah, it's a root blockage or how we birth our own monsters. I would just put echidna in parentheses. This is interesting. Now we got this whole tower over here. I forgot about this tower. What is this? Ooh, the 5 of Cups, mermaid. Ooh. So with these two, there's a tower moment. The 5 of Cups, mermaid, is sort of how we lure ourselves to fall, to our own demise. So between Echidna and this mermaid, this is definitely this is an energy of like, oh, I just had it in my head. Every time I try to explain something, I lose it. So I should just talk. It's like how we give birth to our own greatest nightmares, basically. Monsters of our own making, especially with that tower energy. Are things that we create that undo us. So let's see how this ends out. 5 is, what's this? The 7 of Pentacles. So lots of earth and water energy. Gremlins. 5 is the 7 of Pentacles. Gremlins. A little bit of effort goes a long way. Oops. A little bit of TLC in a defiant direction. And this is how we're going to break out of the riddle. And it's defiant because you're not supposed to feed the Mogwai. Is that what it was? I've only seen Gremlins like 1 or 2 times. Or 2. Or 2. And the 6 of Swords, Harvey came back out. I love that. So yeah, the 6 and the 7. 5 is the 7, 6 is the 6. That's the number 66. This is the way out. The way out, the updraft. So this is not a fun spread at all. Yeah, so basically the energy of this spread already is like there's some behavioral pattern or habit that we have that we think serves us, but in reality it's our greatest blockage. Like this is something that we may think is a strength, but it's actually a weakness. And maybe it's a weakness because we're using it to compensate. And since we're compensating with it, then, that's what makes it fall apart. Can't feed them after dark. Yep. But I feel like with these, you're supposed to. Because with this Ace of Swords and the Death card, this may be doing something that you were told not to do before. Right? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what this actually looks like. And this to be collected. I kind of like this. I want to build more spreads like this, honestly. I want to put I already put novelty spreads. Bottom of the deck. Oh wait, that was already there. Boom. Okay. Bottom of the deck is this Five of Cups. So top of the deck is Hanuman, the Knight of Wands. Who is Hanuman? I think he's like a local dude. Oh, I shouldn't have did this because this box is like. Hold on, wait. Let's ask Siri. Hey Siri, who is Hanuman?
Hanuman is a Hindu god and divine Vanara companion of the god Rama. Hanuman is one of the central characters of the Hindu epic Ramayana. Shall I continue?
Yes.
He is a brahmachari and one of the Chiranjeevi. He is also mentioned in several other texts, such as the epic Mahabharata and the various Puranas. Hanuman is the son of Anjana and Kesari. Maharishi Gautam and Halaya were paternal grandparents of Lord Hanuman.
The Mahabharata? I think Ganesha wrote that. Because in the Wisdom of Lord Ganesha card, it talks about how it's like he broke off his own tusk to keep writing the Mahabharata as someone else orated it. I still don't know who Hanuman is, but that's cool. He's a Hindu in the Hindu pantheon somewhere. But it was the Knight of Wands, so that's all about moving forward with something. And he was actually on top of the water, right? So it's something that can't be extinguished at the same time. So that's interesting. I said I would read with these, but I'm kind of not feeling them. And look, there's that Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So I guess I am feeling this, actually. Shout out to Hanuman. And then there's a Page of Cups right behind the Knight of Wands. And he was dancing on the water. There you go. Put that Four of Wands right behind that Page of Cups. All right, so let's get into this Manticore spread, shall we? Oops. See? Now y'all can see everything. Did y'all see that? There we go. There are some cards I don't like to bend as much. Ooh, Knight of Wands with that Three of Swords, though. The King of Wands came out, right? Because I was like, there's a King of Wands who needs to do something. I don't remember. Oh, well, there's the King of Swords at the cut with that Knight of Wands. So, hey. All right, let's give this a few more. World card and Strength at the cut. Interesting. I'm actually going to put these. Ooh, Two of Cups with Strength. But this ain't the kind of rent spread. So we're doing this Manticore spread. Let me pop this up so I can read it. Because I already forgot what some of these are. So the area of grace, or place we need to show some restraint. Where we need to not go so hard and not be so quick to shoot them quills. Well, this clarifies nothing. This clarifies nothing. Temperance, yes. Okay. We're going to be pulling we're going to have to clarify this temperance. So I don't know why y'all just did that. Or maybe that's just like every single area of your life. What was that? Okay, we'll see. Because I'm like, temperance, that's literally the energy of this space. Like, maybe this is just an overall type of thing. Like, what is something that we need to transform in our lives? The Death card. It's like, okay, well, which part? The whole thing. Temperance is saying the whole thing. Ooh, 10 of Cups at the cut with the Ace of Pentacles. I like that. So, 10 of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. And the next space is that 10 of Pentacles. So, this is what we think we're heading towards. This is like the rose-tinted glasses energy. 9 of Cups with the 10 of Pentacles. 9 of Cups with the 10 of Cups at the cut. Ooh. That's a beautiful image. Love that. So, what do we think, or what are we going towards? Because with the 1 and 2, this is the energy of like you have your eyes set on a certain position and you're willing to like cross anybody, like any means necessary energy is here, but sometimes any means necessary works out worse for you in the end. So there we go. Oh, the Page of Cups. So right off the bat, with the with the 4 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles at the cut, right off the bat, this feels like someone who. Oh, how is it turning into love? This energy is like someone who has a lot of sort of emotional interest in something, but they're pretending like they're not because they don't want to come off a certain way. But this is actually working against them, right? Because with this 4 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles, if you're giving 4 of Cups to the 6 of Pentacles, you're going to get 4 cups in return, right? And the 4 double is the 8 of Cups, so we need to cut that out. And then there's the 5 of Cups with this 4 of Cups. So hey, somebody's like, I'll play it cool, I'll play it cool. And then there's that double energy with this 5 of Cups. So I mean, maybe you've been hurt. Oh well, get over it. Let me stop. With that 2 of Swords. Okay. Number 3, the root blockage / the thing. This is like the primary shadow. It's like the queen bee of shadows. Hold up, hold up. I just felt a card hit the table. I just felt it. I felt it fall out of my hand, but nothing came out. What? I felt that come out of my hand, but everything is still here. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, what? Ooh, ooh, King of Cups. Oh, man. I'm already confused. I should have known I would be confused with the Lovers and the Queen of Swords at the cut. I should have known I was going to be confused when the Manticore was like, this is like the Persian Sphinx. So ain't nothing straightforward about this spread. I should have used a more abstract deck for this. I probably should have used the one I built it with, right? Now the devil is with that Queen of Swords, so be careful how you speak. Next is how we sort of entice ourselves to fall. And it's the 3 of Pentacles. This is so interesting. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should use the SKT with this deck. I'm probably going to use another deck to clarify these. And I want to use decks I haven't used, Chariot and the 9 of Cups. I want to use decks that I haven't used. Or I could just go through with another card on top and clarify with these. Again, people do that, right? What other deck would I use? I have like 9 tarot decks. Oh, wow, 2 cards. Okay. Second card is the High Priestess. So, and this is the space of, what was 5 again? What's my name again? A little bit of TLC in a defiant way. So this is like defiant self-love. When the world tells you you should hate yourself, you choose to love yourself instead. It's that type of energy. And then the High Priestess is right there with the 2 of Wands. Okay, nice. Just saw the 2 of Wands not too long ago. And the Gremlins were here. So 8 of Wands and the King of Pentacles at the cut. I'm already confused. I'm already confused, but they're not all on the table yet. So let me slow down. I'm not confused before I even started. Okay, so last but not least is the Way Out / the Updraft. The Way Out, and this is the 6 of Swords, and we started with the 5 of Swords. I didn't even notice that. The 5 of Swords was the first card down, and the 6 of Swords was the last card out. So all of this is about elevating ourselves out of a space that it's like you can't win in. There are no victors when it comes to the Five of Swords, not really. And it's the devil. What is this with the Knight of Pentacles at the bottom? Girl, you know what? We're gonna just go ahead and grab these Archangel Power cards because I'm gonna need one of them just to clarify this up for me. Because I'm confused. I'm confused. How we start with Temperance? Wow. So we started. The Five of Swords was the first card down, right? And the Six of Swords was the last card. We have Temperance and then the Devil. This is 14 and 15. This is a 14-5. This is a 15-6. So that confirms that I just need to figure this out. Oh, goodness. Gosh. She was like, you said, it's time to exercise the muscles and spiritual muscles. Let's exercise. Exercise. Come talk to me. Come talk to me. Commune with me like you did last time. I'm like, yeah, but last time I wasn't going nowhere. This time I'm trying to get stuff done. Right? I mean, in both situations, I was taken care of. I finally checked my bank account today, yo. I've been seeing it for probably literally like a month now. And I checked my bank account. I was a little bit afraid or a lot of bit scared, but I have more than I thought I did because I've spent less than I thought, which is interesting. Okay. So this is how this is going to work. We're just going to pull cards for guidance and direction because, well, we ain't even going in order, it seems. Oh, well. The angels have a different way of perceiving things than we do. Bottom of this deck is the Nine of Michael. So, hey, look, there's Mike. Y'all see Mike? Nine of Michael says, your worry is unnecessary. Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, and worry to your angels. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles over here. So this timed release. This is a timed release energy. It took us 6 cards to make one step. To go from the Five of Swords to the Six of Swords. To go from Temperance to the Devil. It took us 6 cards. But it's not about the length of time it takes us because time is an illusion anyway. And there's something about delayed satisfaction instead of instant gratification. And the amount of time it took you to reach this point is going to mirror the magnitude of reward that you get. We are rewarded for our patience and for our diligence. So just keep that in mind as we try to break down whatever this is. Okay, so there we go. It looks like an X, if you can tell. So I'm actually going to run to the restroom really quick, and I'll be right back. And then I'll timestamp this when I get back and put it down in the description box. Be So I just said BRB, and I'm hungry, so now I kind of want Arby's, even though I don't eat Arby's. But they got good curly. Okay, so we're going to slowly ramp back up the volume instead of coming back and just screaming and bursting y'all eardrums like I think I might have done the other day. It's 4:33. 4:33 is a 10. So let's put it into whatever this is and dive and dig right in. And it's interesting that Temperance came out because Temperance influenced the shape of the spread. So there's something about the alchemy of form. Don't ask me what that means because I don't know. Something about the alchemy of form. So it's like molding something. It's like there's this kiln and this pottery type of energy, right? And so I've never done the wheel to shape a pot, but the wheel moves the clay and you move your hands, right? And you shape it that way. So the alchemy of form is the subtle movements that we make to control a situation that is already in motion to get the outcome that we desire. And so right off the bat, this temperance, I think, is an element of it's just overall. Like I said, it's overall. There's this delicateness and this patience and this practical wisdom that we need to have. And I say practical wisdom because that's kind of sort of what alchemy is, right? It's like if I do this, then that will be the result. But it's practical, it's tangible, right? It's tactile. You can touch it. So the area of grace and restraint, this is all over the place. And I think it's because there's this Aries energy here that we need to dial back, or just cardinal energy. There's a cardinal energy here that we need to make a little bit more immutable. Hey, Sagittarius. Aries, fire. So we need to make this fire a little bit more mutable because it's all about controlled pulses instead of just this like, and there's a difference between controlled pulses and being impulsive, right? There's a difference. So I did pull some clarification for this, and it is the star card. Both of these cards can denote healing. Both temperance and the star have healing energies to them. So there's a need to be more patient with yourself, honestly. And I feel like there's this energy. So we have the Page of Cups and the King of Cups. And the page, this is card number 2, this is card number 3. And so there's something that this is like the energy of like, you know, when you're a little kid and someone's always mean to you, and then somebody be like, well, that means they like you because they're mean to you and nice to everybody else. So there's like no impulse control here. There's a lack of impulse control in this situation because I feel like there would be these moments where something would surge up, but you wouldn't be healed enough to handle it. And so you would act out a way that didn't align with what you wanted. And so this is a need for you to be patient and graceful with yourself. And it's also, there's almost an energy here of a missed opportunity. Maybe you think you've made a mistake, or maybe you think that you're not sort of worthy or deserving of something because you feel like you're not yet who you need to be to claim it. But jumping to the end, you need to proceed anyway. And this is an energy, like you do it as you go. You learn as you go. When you go from the page in one space to the king in another space, coming off of this temperance energy with the star, you learn as you go. And so the perceived outcome, I think here there's like, So emotionally, I feel like you can feel how much fulfillment and joy this will bring you. Whatever this is, it could be a person, it could be a job, it could be whatever. This is about us improving our own lives and bringing this element of water into our own lives, right? Personal fulfillment is what this is about. So it could involve anything or anyone. So, excuse me. I don't know why I get so yawny sometimes when I do these. I don't even need those cards now. Yeah, I should have known I would figure it out when I got into it. It just looked a little intimidating. And maybe that's another message at the same time. The Manticore looks scarier than it is. It is as scary as it looks, but it may not be as aggressive as we fear it to be. It could be the energy of something that has a very, very frightening appearance, but a very docile demeanor. And so it won't attack you unless you attack it, right? Like this is a sleeping dragon or a sleeping dog. Let sleeping dogs lie is the same, right? And so I feel like in this situation, you can feel how much fulfillment it will bring you, but you don't perceive yourself as up to par. And I'm actually going to flip this now because I want to flip this one before I move on. So here is the Four of Gabriel, which is the Four of Wands. So I tried not to make this about relationships, but it might be. Goodness. Time for a celebration. Abundant rewards for hard work. Release yourself from burdensome situations. And that's yeah. So I feel like with this star card also, this it feels like an energy of something that we're not claiming. And again, it goes like we don't yet see ourselves as worthy of it. But we need to release ourselves from all of the things that we think are wrong with us. Because it's always a pros versus cons situation. There's no one and nothing is perfect. And so there's always going to be a downside. But whenever we go for something new, we tend to focus on our downsides. We tend to look at how we don't stack up. A lot of us, or some of us will act like we don't, but we actually do. And again, that's the energy of like someone is mean only to you because they like you, but they're nice to everybody else. Or you can flip that. They're mean to everybody else, but they're nice to you because they like you. Right? And so either way, regardless of how it plays out, there's a situation where we may not necessarily yet feel like we're enough. And you don't know what the other person is thinking. Right? We all evaluate things. And the other person could be a recruiter for a job, right? You could think that, oh, it took me, this long to do whatever, and I'm not qualified in that way, and there are so many candidates that are better than me, but you don't know what that person is looking for, and you don't know how they evaluate things. So you could be getting a better score than you give yourself in the situation. And then through pursuing this, it might give you the opportunity to begin to shift your own perception. Because it almost feels like if you have the courage and the strength to pursue whatever this is, as you work through things and as you solve problems as they arise, you'll begin to see yourself in a truer and truer light. Because we don't know how strong we are until we have to be that strong. And so there's also a full energy here. And it could be that same cardinal energy. But now it's that Aries cardinal energy playing through the spectrum of the Fool, where it's asking you to leap into a brand new space. But as you enter the space, it's a space of development, but it's also a space of revelation. And I put that down here somewhere, didn't I? Revelations that lead to reflection. Yeah, that's what I put on here. Revelations that lead to reflection. So while you're in this space, you're going to be growing and evolving and changing in ways that's going to be rewriting whatever this devil energy used to say. And it's like, wow, I can do this. Maybe I could have done that. Maybe I could have done something else. It's like it's gonna there's a potential for you to come into this space where you begin to rewrite your entire story because you realize that who you were is not who you will always be. And there's something interesting about this star card where all of these little stars more or less line up with the point off of the big star. Some of them are a little bit off. And so it's like on this side, where's my finger? On this side, they're more lined up. But from here, they're a little bit off, but they're coming into alignment at the same time. And the only thing not pointed to is this Three of Pentacles up here. So the last star in this requires, like, you're going to build it, but it requires you to show up and have dedication. The element of Earth is all about dedication, right? And even the Earth majors are about dedication. Now, with Capricorn dedication, it may be dedication to something that may not necessarily be in your best interest. Or with Capricorn, it could be like something that is more like you more dedicated to it than it is dedicated to you. With the Hermit, with Virgo, it's all about dedication to the self. And then with Taurus, it's all about dedication. It's almost like dedication to something or someone else, but it's for the self. In a way that's similar to Capricorn, but different. So yeah, coming to this space where you feel maybe inadequate or not yet up to par. Another suit of fire. So we go from the Four of Gabriel to the Nine of Gabriel. Nine of Gabriel says, stay determined and move forward. Be prepared for any possibility and environmental activism. So yeah, even though you feel like you're this little page, I feel like even though you feel like you're this page, you're going to become this king. And it's like this journey will reveal the king that's been inside of you always. It's like you've always been this king, but you've never had an environment that will interact with you in the way that this one will to show you that or to push you to become that. And while it's pushing you, it's also encouraging you. But since this is the Manticore spread, there's a pot that's a this a it's a pot poop poop. But there's a possibility for you to sting yourself, right? And so don't do that. I didn't know what this would be, but this energy is actually beautiful. It looked really intimidating and confusing at the jump, but it's actually pretty beautiful. Now, we haven't gotten to this at the end yet, but it's actually kind of nice. I'm actually kind of really enjoying this. I love this spread. So yeah, grab you a deck and go ham. So number 3 is the root of blockages. And the root of all blockages in this situation, the mother of all your mental monsters, the sort of spawn point that your inner demons continue to razz at, is this King of Cups. And honestly, this is just thinking that you need to be someone that you're not. And it ties directly in with this energy, right? It's because whatever this situation is, it understands that you are here. You're actually further than this, but you're in this space because you perceive yourself as in this space. And since you perceive yourself as in this space, you act as if you are this page. So it doesn't matter what you actually are, because right now you think you're a page. And since you think you're a page, you're going to act like a page, right? And so maybe something or someone else saw the potential within you. And this is different than Capricorn double energy, where it's like someone who's trying to change you. There's a difference between someone who sees the potential within you and who encourages you to live up to and fulfill that potential, and someone who is trying to change you. Now, in both situations, depending on how you feel about yourself, you're going to run the risk of feeling like you're never good enough, And personally, I can relate to that. Love you, Mom. Early in the quarantine days, girl, I had my moment. I had my moment. And it's a pressure that I've felt with that literally all my life. And it was brought to my awareness not too long before that moment happened. Um, it was brought to my awareness. So I was like, wow, I feel like I'm like one reason why I don't really try and a lot of things is because I feel like part of me feels like it's never good enough. And so since I've pretty much always felt like I'm not enough, I don't try. And I've managed to get pretty far without trying, fortunately, because I am amazing. But um, at the same time, I don't know what I'm truly capable of because there's a part of me that recognizes and realizes the potential that I have. But there's another part of me that's afraid that all that used to be afraid. Who is this? Who is this? Frankie. Oh, snap. There's Dr. Frankie. Dr. Frankie B. His name is actually Roberts, but he goes by Frankie. Um, oh, gosh. Ew. Okay, maybe not. Check your implicit biases at the door. Oh, let me try not to derail this. So there was a part of me that knew I was capable of more than what I was doing. But also there was a part of me that was afraid that it still wouldn't be enough. And so it almost played out. It played out in this way that is very similar to a fear of failure, but it's a slightly different flavor, right? It's like we got orange juice, we got Tang, and then we got some kind of citrusy Kool-Aid thing over here that's not Tang. And it's like, okay, well, which one is orange juice? It's not that like that, but it's like, it's like they're similar-ish. You can tell they're all sort of citrus based, but they play out in a different way. And then growing up with that also affected my self-worth in a way that I was about to move that, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do. Hold up, wait. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna adjust it. I'm not gonna touch it because it's fine as it is right now. It's fine as it is, and I'm not trying to wrestle with that. See how I distract myself, y'all? Self sabotage. I just manifested or just play that out for you. Like this setup is good enough. I was literally about to spend like 5 minutes trying to adjust this by making this more than like this is enough. This is enough. This is good. This is a good setup right here. Um, but anyway, it kind of sort of became self worth issues, but self worth issues that stemmed at this deeply internal conflict of I know I can do more than what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm afraid that if I begin to do what I can do, it won't be enough. And so there's been this, that's kind of sort of what my light and shadow, like when it comes to my Chiron area, my Chiron is in Leo, right? Which is all about self expression, among other things. But it's the sun, it's about shining. That's one of the reasons why I wouldn't necessarily shine in the past, because it's like, I know I can be brighter, but what if I'm not bright enough? And that was the sort of the internal conflict that played out within me. And so there's this similar energy here with the King of Cups sitting in the space of the mother of our own monsters, the mother of the monsters of our own creation, right? The source point for all of this darkness, the center of the black hole, right? Is this King of Cups. You thinking that you need to be more than you are for whatever reason. but in reality, that it doesn't serve. And this ain't no full blown psychoanalysis. This is only 6 pieces. This is 12 cards of paper, ink, and plastic because these are laminated paper ink with a thin sheet of plastic on top of it. So, I ain't no psychologist. I can't give you no full psychoanalysis breakdown. And also, this is general, so this may not even resonate. But there's some area where you feel like you're supposed to be a king, it's like you feel like you're a page, but you're being demanded to be a king. And so you're compensating for this in ways that are not serving to get you where you actually want to be, right? And so the Archangel Power card here is Strength. It's purple. Oh, it's 16. The Tower. Change your life. Change your life. This is Archangel Chamuel, or Chamuel. And Chamuel is, I believe he is, what do they call him? He's number 3 in the Energy Oracle cards. Solar Plexus, Archangel Chamuel, I believe. It says, a sudden revelation that offers freedom. Break free of procrastination. Hey, I procrastinate. Embrace the opportunities that change brings. So I feel like this is embracing, again, this is all about an opportunity. I love how these are just like flowing. I was so worried, y'all. I was so worried. I was worried. A sudden revelation that offers freedom, break free of procrastination, and embrace the opportunities that change brings. This is interesting because there's a cyclic nature here, because it's like, because the first line and the third line, a sudden revelation that offers freedom, embrace the opportunities that change brings. So it's like there's this opportunity that offers you freedom, but there's a freedom that gives you this opportunity. And so it's opportunities that lead to opportunities. It's freedom that leads to freedom. And that's this energy over here between this Knight of Pentacles and the Nine of Michael. Right? Oh, what's that? Two of Swords. Oof. This is interesting. Because yesterday, when I pulled up the SKT, the Two of Swords was the card at the bottom of the deck in the same position, in the same spot. So something about the Two of Swords sticking to this corner of this little wooden tray table thing. No. I work with what I got, okay? I'm not going to continue to apologize for it because the messages are what the messages are. And I am who I am, and it is what it is, and it'll be different when it's different. So, Now, I will say that I could, clean my room. That's definitely within my control. And that'll be the next step. I do need to. So these tangents are relevant sometimes. So I have more stuff than I have space in my room. And since I have more stuff than I have space, it's like there's, to a certain degree, it will always be cluttered. And so if I had a more equal stuff to space ratio, I would be a lot more intentional of not letting little plastic water bottles pile up all over the place, right? But since it's already cluttered anyway, it's like the one thing that I could do the one thing within my power are the things that are more, you sure we ain't mirroring? I mean, it's collective, so maybe it's hitting all of us. Maybe it's hitting all of us. But this isn't my focus because I can't do much about the stuff. And so my focus is somewhere else to get me to the place where I can expand to the point where the ratio is more equal. And there are some things that I could give away, but also it wouldn't make sense because when I get my own place, I'm going to be getting a lot of the stuff that I have now. I have more money than I thought I did. I might get a little storage unit. I think I'm going to get a little storage unit. And I talked about that with my mom before. I think it's time for me to actually do it because then I would be able to work in this space. Because last year, I feel like my default mode is fairly messy, but it's an organized chaos. I'm very organized, chaotic, or chaotic organized, right? But when I started to work through all my mental stuff last year, all of a sudden my room was clean. I was like, because I went home, I left my apartment, and then when I went back to my apartment, I expected a mess, but it was clean. And that's when it hit me. I was like, what? But that's always been my narrative. My narrative has always been I'm just messy or I'm organized chaos. But when I started to get my life, my mental life and my emotional life and my spiritual life together, my physical life came together. And so it challenged the whole narrative that I had. And it's a similar energy here where there's this thing over here. There's an opportunity over here. There's something that you do over here that creates these. It's like this, there's this infinity energy. So you feel like you're looping, but in reality, what you're doing is this. Hold on, wait, how do I do it? How do I do it? It's like you feel like you're doing this, right? But if you unravel it, you're actually building and progressing and you're chaining, daisy chaining to the next thing. So there's actual progression and movement. But since it's all like this, you feel like you're stuck. You feel like this. You can't even, yeah, you can see my fingers. You feel like this with the infinity, right? But in reality, it's this. And so you're actually chaining one thing onto another. And that's another thing about the Manticore. That's the Sphinx energy behind the Manticore. Is that like that's how it misleads us? If that makes any sense. You used to be organized, then you turned to organized mess. I used to be a mess, and then I turned into an organized mess. And then I found my ability to be neater. And I was like, wait, what? And even when I was on campus, like I moved from an apartment to a little dorm. And so even there, I had more space. I had more stuff than I had space, but I was able to organize the space in a way that made sense. And so, but anyway, there are little things that I can do to keep the problem, to reduce the severity of the issue, reduce the severity of the problem. And it's all about doing the things that we can do within our control. Right. And that's another thing, I guess, with this king, it's like when you get the things that are easier to get under control, then the new things, it's like and that's this chain, right? Because if you're always doing the thing that is most easy for you to control, when you complete that, then the next thing on your list is the easiest thing. And then you complete that. And the next thing on your list is the easiest thing. So you can see how, as you bring order to things, you work your way up the list. And it's not to, the Manticore is the Manticore all around. Even in the solution, there's a riddle. The answer to one riddle is another riddle. And it's different than answering a question with a question. Because it's like what you need to do in the beginning to realize and recognize the power and the potential within you is what you need to do in the beginning. And so as you progress, you're able to lift more, right? You don't build muscle by always lifting, 2 pounds, right? You can't build if you always lift the same thing and the same sort of using the same repetition and sets, right? Either you have to increase repetition or increase the set or increase the weight. Something has to increase as you increase because your body will get used to it. And so you'll reach this wall. And so there's that paradoxical thing. It's for you to do what you can do and for you to do what's easiest. but eventually you're going to have to challenge yourself at the same time. And then that could be like, that's why this is the mother of many monsters. That's why this is echidna energy, because it is one central thing itself, but it births many other things, right? And depending on what kind of monster you're dealing with, right? Like, if you have not seen Stranger Things full through, then don't listen to this. Plug your ears, turn me off. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so in the third season of Stranger Things, or in the second or the third season of Stranger Things, so I'll give you, a few more seconds just in case. All right, so there's the Mind Flayer, right? And then there's the Demigorgons. Well, first, the Demigorgon was season 1, and then there were the little ones. And I think in both seasons, actually. Well, it might have been the third season. No, it was the second season. Because in the second season, Will got out, but then there were more things. So, yeah, they thought that if they defeated the main monster, then the rest of them would fall apart, right? And so that was an echidna type where you can defeat the mother and all of the rest just sort of wither away without anything to control them. But you may have the type of monster where, and it's kind of sort of this gremlins energy at the same time, but kind of sort of not. Because again, I saw the movie like one time and maybe not even full through. But if you came here, I'm still talking about spoilers, but some things that is the case, but there are some other things where it's like, if you defeat the main body, if you defeat the mother, then now all her children are disorganized and running around without a leader and causing more chaos, right? And so you kind of sort of have to know what you're dealing with. And spoilers over. Hey, do y'all like how I said spoilers before I started talking about the spoilers this time? I'm growing. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Now, in the fourth space, this is how we lure ourselves to fall. Because this was the mermaid energy, and with the mermaid energy, honestly, it gave me siren more than mermaid. So, you know, how we lure ourselves to fall, how we trick ourselves, how we deceive ourselves. Because all of these monsters are our own making, but they come back to haunt us at the same time, right? It's like it's giving me the energy of a movie, TV show, anime, video game, where there's a character who is plagued by monsters, but the monsters are in their own imagination. Maybe real life, unfortunately. But it's all about sort of, there's this energy about not only facing your monsters head on, but also needing to recognize the source. And the source may be you. It may not be someone else. This might be you. See, that's why this Manticore, I use the novelty deck, and the energy of this Manticore spread, maybe because it is chimeric through the Manticore, maybe through the Sphinx reference, it's also a riddle. It's deeper than I thought it would be. It's not the like necessarily heavy, like super collective. This is the shadow of at least America and the world. But if you want to pretend like you ain't in on it, then the shadow of America that's coming to the surface. So it's not that necessarily. So I guess I should be thankful for that. How may I best serve the collective today? And so maybe it is a sign whenever the program won't work. It's like I'm trying to focus on myself, and I'm going to talk about me again because this is the space that I'm in, and it's kind of sort of related to this whole like mess in some maybe less concrete, more abstract way. But it's like I feel like I should be doing more to further myself right now. But then I hit these walls, and it's like, okay, well, since I hit this wall on my own, then I'll do what I can to try to serve the collective, right? But then it's like, well, I know I feel like I'm giving too much to the collective, so let me do more for me. And it's this temperance. It's all about temperance, I guess. So back to this. The Three of Pentacles is all about building. This is But since this is never addressed, it's like this is the shadow that we run from, right? So instead of tackling the root source of all of our issues, we go to the little things. And again, this is the paradoxical things like nature, because it's like, yes, do what you can manage, do what's easiest for you, but at some point you're going to have to evolve, because it's like there's a leak in the boat, and better case scenario, the boat is filling as fast as you are removing the water from the boat, right? So if you, but it's like before you realized that the boat had a leak, there was already water in the boat. So talking about steady state and equilibrium. So overall, the net gain or the net increase of water in your boat is zero, but there's still water in your boat. But if you grab a larger bucket, if you grab a larger container, if you increase the size of your vessel, you can shovel out more and you can decrease the amount of water in the boat, right? And so with this Three of Pentacles, as this energy combating this, not feeling good enough, it's like you're doing these small things. You do a little bit here, you do a little bit there, you do a little bit here to try to build yourself up. But without addressing this, it's like you're scooping a little bit of water out of the boat instead of stopping the leak when you have the ability to stop the leak. And it may behoove you, it may be more effective to stop the leak first and then shovel out, scoop out, remove the water, right? Because even if you stop the leak, you're still going to have water in your boat. And depending on how much water you have in your boat, you may be sinking, right? Even if you stop the leak, because you may be too heavy to float. So it's like either you're doing this or you're doing that, but you need to be doing both. And they work together in some very paradoxical way. But with these being creatures of your own making, it's like you know your weaknesses. Your subconscious knows your weaknesses better than anything. And as above, so below, and the law of attraction and the law of manifestation is all about, if you look behind, if you look under the hood, it's all about aligning our subconscious with our conscious, because we're always going to want the things that we want. Those are our more conscious, more surface level beliefs. But it's about going under the hood, going into the subconscious or more subconscious, less complete, like not in the part of the subconscious that is the one, not the realm of the one, but more in the shadow part of the subconscious, right? So there are many realms of the subconscious, I guess. There's the one realm, the realm of the one. And then there are shadow realms, and then there are light realms, and then there's the conscious mind. And there are many aspects of the conscious as well, right? But anyway, it's about aligning the subconscious with the conscious. It's about aligning your behaviors and your default programs with what you actually desire. And so with this Three of Pentacles, and I got to remind myself what this is again. See, I be Mercury and Pisces, y'all. How we lure ourselves to our own downfall. How we lure ourselves, how we bait ourselves, how we trap ourselves, how we. So this is all about, like, we make a little movement, and so we think we're doing better, but in reality, we're not addressing the things that we actually need to address. And this is simple. We're not addressing the things that we actually need to address. We're making little bits of progress here, little bits of progress there, a little bits of progress in another area. Also, there's an unconcerted, unconcentrated effort here. Maybe we're spreading ourselves too thin. Or maybe this is both, because temperance is here. So it's not for us to have all of our eggs in one basket, but at the same time, it's not for us to spread ourselves too thin. Sphinx. It's the Sphinx. Goodness, what is this energy? Man, I would say see a therapist. This is the seek professional counseling spread. Oh goodness. Because I like literally I feel like I could break all of these, like I could clarify these even more. But again, this is general. So if I was doing this for like in a more personal setting, then I would get into it more and I would be able to get more of a hit. And sometimes there are more specific messages within general messages, but you're not going to get as close to the heart of the issues, right? And so I may give like an example or break it down in one or two ways here and there, and maybe one of those will be more your situation, but it always goes deeper anyway. I'm not trying to sell a personal because I know I got my email up there and my Cash App in the description box, but maybe after Eclipse season, we'll see what the collective is looking like. I mean, honestly, I'll serve in whatever way I feel called to. Page of Michael, another page, and some Michael. So hey, that's cool. Shout out to Mike, the one with the sword, and this is about the Ace of Swords and the Death card. So truthful, perceptive, analytical, and blunt. The Page of Michael. An exciting new challenge. You have what it takes to succeed. Review contracts or documents very thoroughly. I was going to say very thoughtfully, but very thoroughly. And look, review contracts and documents very thoroughly. And then what do we have this young person doing in this card? Y'all see that? Looks like they are signing they're writing something. I don't know if they signed a contract. I don't know if they're writing up a contract. But they're doing it by candlelight. And so, in doing it by candlelight, it's like partial elimination, and it is the Page of Swords. So there's this energy of partial elimination, right? Because you're doing it by candlelight. You're not doing it outside when it's bright. You're not doing it, under a ring light with, the thing turned all the way up, right? Because this is like, we could be doing it here. Well, it don't go no higher on one of these settings, right? But instead we're doing it, down here. Oh, I actually like that where you can actually see it. And so it's all about partial elimination. But at the same time, you know enough to begin. You know what you need to know to progress. But you don't know everything at the same time. I feel like this is the butt spread, not the BUTT spread, the BUT spread. This is the butt spread. So, number 5, a little bit of TLC in a defiant way, right? Because he was like, my Mogwai get hungry. My Mogwai be starving after midnight. What you mean don't feed him? I feel bad. I feel like I'm a bad caretaker. He be starving. You go, so what? I gotta let my Mogwai starve until the next morning? And it's like, yeah, if you don't want gremlins. But we have the Two of Wands and the High Priestess. These are 2 2s. 22. You may be seeing lots of 2s. I saw 222 today and 1111. No, I missed 11. No, wait, I think I did see 1111. No, wait, I'm trying to think because I saw 1107. Yeah, I did see 1111 because the clock was 1110 and I kind of watched it a little bit. So I saw 1111. I didn't just glance at 1111, but I did 1212. And I almost got 222, but I didn't because I got excited at 220, and then I stopped watching the clock. I didn't glance back at 222. So, but I saw 1111, and I caught 1212 by chance. I just picked up my phone and it was 1212. So I was like, oh hey, that's cool. You may be seeing lots of 2s, 22s, and so maybe one of the potential. Because if we use the major arcana, 222 could be, the path forward. Like it would be the high priestess, justice, and judgment. So you know that something needs to change. You know where there is less balance in your life. And you know that something needs to be done to correct it. Right. And so there's just this feeling of something is unbalanced and I don't want it to be. And with the high priestess, it's like there's a little bit of an inkling there, but maybe not. Always see 1111, but 222. 222 has been a few days. You're surprised. I see 1111 sometimes. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, wait. So you got 4444 today twice. 444 yesterday and today. 555 yesterday. Always see 1111. And 222 has been a few days. Okay. Yeah, you got numbers. Well, you said you got numbers crazy over there. I'll see, like, I saw somebody on Twitter was like, does anyone count their birth time as one of their angel numbers? And I count my birthday, like the date, like the day I was born, but I don't count the time I was born. But I don't really see it too much either. And I was like, huh, that's an interesting question. And it seemed like a lot of people look at their day, but they don't necessarily look at the time. But at the same time, not everybody knows the exact hour, minute that they were born, right? So it makes sense. Um, you didn't, but you thought about it before. I mean, I don't necessarily like, I just go, oh, hey, that's the day I was born. Honestly, I'll take that back. I've been seeing mine a lot, and I see somebody else's a lot. But it's only like 3 minutes between them, so or a few minutes. It's only a few minutes between them, and so sometimes I'll see the first one first, and then I'll see the second one. Sometimes I'll just see mine. It depends. Anyway. The Two of Wands is about moving on. Is this the three, girl? This is the Three of Wands. I always confuse the three for the two, but never the two for the three. This is the Three of Wands. This is space number 5, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So a 2, 3, 5. When it comes to the High Priestess, 2 is a number of duality and polarity. But 2, a number of duality, just speaks to the simple fact that for every apple there is a banana, right? There are 2 sides to the coin, but there's only one coin. So this energy of duality is like there's only one coin, and then the 3 is a catalyst. The 3 is catalytic. And so the Three of Wands, whenever the Three of Wands is about waiting for your ships to come in, the Three of Wands is like you've already done everything that you need to do. Now you're just waiting for the reaction to happen. And this High Priestess would be like, so this energy in the middle almost sits outside of these, which is interesting. And I did lay the cards out this way. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I went 1, 4, 5, 6. But it, like with this High Priestess, and maybe it's because the High Priestess is here as well. Like she just elevated the plane of this reading. Because I guess this is the Ace of Swords. So maybe the outside is more of that death energy. This is all the space of that transformation. And then the Ace of Swords is about clarity and new information, right? And that is kind of sort of put here at the same time. That's why I put it's about TLC. The defiance of it is that Ace of Swords energy, something brand new. So I'm hungry. 1 second, I'm gonna eat a little square of chocolate. Actually, I won't. I'm gonna just drink this little right here. I got a sip of water. There we go. That's something in my stomach. I bought all these veggies and I didn't eat them. I proceeded to not eat them. I got two things of eggs, and I'm not even eating the eggs. Girl, I'm about to go in there and make some eggs and throw some something in there. I don't know. See, but I'm just like hungry. Whenever you're hungry and you gotta wait for something to cook, it's the worst. So with this energy, I'm gonna say I'm gonna project a little bit, and I'm gonna say like if there's something that you already know you need to do, start to do it in the Two of Wands space, because by the time you get to the Three of Wands, you're gonna want it, right? And that's just in the future. Maybe this is a future energy moving forward. Five is a number of change. So not only do we have this Ace of Swords, we have this tender loving care, but in a new direction, in a new way. And so this is a one and a five. There's a lot of energy here. There's a lot of interesting, swirly, nebulous. I was going to say cosmic or chaotic, chaosmic. There's some chaosmic energy here. And that is entropy. There's a very entropic energy here. Entropy is the tendency of the universe to naturally fall towards disorder and to naturally fall towards chaos, right? Hey Siri, define entropy.
A thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as a degree of disorder or randomness in the system.
There you go.
Do you want to hear the next one?
No, thank you. Oh, wait, I actually did. You caught it at the end. It's about chaos, it's about disorder, it's about unpredictability, right? It's like, it's the reason why Jenga is Jenga, right? Why am I talking about entropy? Anyway, this could be a shift of direction with this 235. Because the high priestess, like I said, it's like, so another take on that, it's like you've maybe with all of this energy, you've been building on something, especially coming off of this Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles, Three of Wands. Okay, that's where this is coming from. And then we got the Page of Cups and the King of Cups, which between them, they have two cups. So two associated with the water energy, and then there's two High Priestess, and then wands with that candle. Because I was talking about, it's something about partial illumination, and then we get this Three of Wands. Anyway, you can find a parallel in a lot of stuff if you look hard enough. And some people dedicate all of that energy towards things that don't actually serve them and benefit them, right? You're looking for 1,000,001 ways that something can go wrong instead of focusing on the ways that it can go right. And to be fair, with the energy on the table, it's like you've only experienced things going wrong, or you are primarily focused on how things went wrong. And so you can't even really, it doesn't really come to your mind or to your awareness as easily that something can go right, something can go better than expected, right? It's like you've been in this dark cave and you've graduated from darkness to a candle, from a candle to a lantern, from a lantern to some, super bright LED. And now we're asking you to come outside to full blown sunlight. And it's one of those like crystal clear days where the sun is like really intense and it's just like you're standing out in it and it's just roasting you like a peanut. Oh no, I want some like dry roasted peanuts. Oof. I'm gonna try to reel in this hunger, y'all. Okay. So yeah, it's like there's almost this energy of like you've been steadily building something that you didn't want to build with this high priestess. Like the high priestess is almost like you knew that you didn't want it, or you knew that you wouldn't want it. And so, okay. So there's something that you want, and you were exposed to having it. either exposed to the opportunity or exposed to the information that would make it yours, that will, because it's like with this alchemy energy, you were given the recipe to alchemize the things, you had the materials and the portions to put them in to boom, create what you want. Now over here, you weren't yet feeling whatever within yourself that you needed to feel up to par or worthy of this thing. And so what you did was you chose to distract and defer to other situations that don't get you where you want to be, but you have more control in those situations. Oof. You see how this evolves and how the picture just comes together? Man, I wish I could start at the end and then it's like I could do a reading in 3 seconds. But it's like, yeah, of course you can do it in 3 seconds when you already got the pieces together. Hello? No duh. But that's what this energy is. There's a flavor of this that may or may not resonate for you particularly, but there's a flavor of that with this Three of Pentacles. This is something easy, something easy, something easy. Now there's a difference between doing something easier and something easy. Doing the thing that's difficult but more manageable, but easier to focus on. And that's okay. That was the this feeling. So if you're feeling like this, or if you're feeling like you're just circling a drain, honestly, you're not even doing the full 2 separate loops, you're just circling a drain, then you may be circling a drain. And again, it's because with this energy, like you feel like this is your worry, this is your fear, this is your concern. And since you don't want to face this, you're seeking these situations where you can be this. And when you're this in these situations like this, there's a difference between this energy and this energy. This energy will keep you circling the drain. This energy will progressively lead you towards becoming this fully, to really embodying this. Okay, I hope that made sense. You're playing the game on easy mode when you need to be playing on at least normal. You ain't got to play on hard. You don't have to play on master. You don't have to play on impossible. You can play easy while you're learning, but it's time to up the difficulty. It's time to pursue something bigger and better. And you continuing to pursue petty things because you don't want to face whatever you need to face, you're not going to get what you want. And that's where, okay, so I had to go all the way back to figure out why I went there. That's you not doing the things you need to do to actually get what you want to get. And so now you're sitting here waiting for something that will never come for you. It will never come because you didn't do the things that actually get you here. Right? It's like the ticket costs $5. You scrape together $3.52. And so you're going to take your $3 and get a ticket somewhere else. Or it's like, you give your $3.52 to the person at the register and you're like, okay, whatever this will give me, give that to me. Wanting this, hoping that maybe the person behind the counter will make a mistake and accidentally give you a ticket to where you want to actually go, but that's not how it works. And when this doesn't work out for you, this high priestess is going to be like, I told you so. I told you to do more, but you didn't do it. Either you didn't do it, and that's the Manticore, right? Because there's this energy of like, oh, I've been doing this and I've been doing that and I've been doing, all of these other things. So I should have scraped enough money together or scraped enough pennies together to afford this trip that I actually want. And it's like, no, you're going to come up short somehow. And you're going to come up short because you're shortchanging yourself. Hey. Don't mean to be a little punny and funny, but, it is unfortunate. Let's see, though. Maybe not. Take it as it resonates. Oof. 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 Ooh, when I tell y'all clarification, baby. Number 20. Number 20. You see that number 20? When I was like, ooh, 2-2. So there are two 2s here. You get Judgment and the High Priestess. And that's the thing about Judgment energy. When you know better, you're responsible for doing better. And so the same passes, the same excuses that used to work back in the day, they're not going to work anymore because you know better. Oof, goodness. Wow. This is a ride. Let me look at and analyze my own life and not get to whatever I'm feeling right now, because I don't want to miss out either. I don't want to miss out either. That's why I've been saying for a long time, when we entered those 19 days, when it seemed like the world was in a space that we were already in, doing self work, reflecting, going through the shadow, doing all this healing. And so we thought that we were ahead. And if we got complacent, if we stopped, then that's where we would have messed up. Because we were still being called further. We were still being called beyond. And it's like we're not judging. This is the energy. This energy is like we're not judging how far you are. We're judging progress, but it's continual progress. So this isn't how much progress you've made since you started your journey. This is how much progress have you made this year. How much progress have you made in this season? How much progress have you made this month? How much progress have you made since the lunar eclipse? And now we're about to come into the solar eclipse. And it isn't necessarily what have I done differently. It's more of a, like with this Knight of Pentacles, it's about dedication, time, energy, and effort. What have you poured into it? Right? And progress comes in many flavors and many forms. And man does not judge and evaluate this. At the end of the day, man does not judge this. You don't judge this. Spirit does. But Spirit makes sure that you know exactly what you need to do, regardless of if you do it or not, regardless of if you like the answer or not, to actually do the work to get there. And like, that's the thing about judgment. Justice is not here. Unless justice is, this card right here. I was like, 222, that's like justice. That's like high priestess, justice, judgment. We got the high priestess and we got judgment. So let me read it. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Archangel Jeremiah. Starting a new life, finding your purpose, a forgiving and compassionate review of the past. So this is a review of the past, but it's forgiving and it's compassionate. So maybe you missed the first round of ships. Maybe you missed the first boat, but there will be another one. There will always be more opportunities. We're going to have a second wave, and some timelines at least. Tremendous. There's going to be an opportunity, another opportunity. There's always opportunity for some things, right? Some ships depart and they never come back. But it's ever growing, it's ever evolving, it's ever changing. So there's always a better outcome. There's always better. Better is always available to you. And so don't get wrapped up in what didn't happen for you if things begin to move in a way. But also at the same time, if you have done this, right? Because I put the cards down this way. So originally it was Temperance and Star, Page of Cups, King of Cups, Three of Pentacles, and then the end game. But on the bottom, with the Archangel, with the angel cards being the easier way out, the more dependent way out, the more reliant way out, right? You're relying on your angels, on your team, on your ancestors, on your guides, on spirit, on the universe to do everything for you so that you don't have to show up yourself. Then it would have been Temperance and the Star, the King of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles. So the more independent route shows a growth from the Page to the King before you embark on these threes to build to what you actually want. But the more dependent route had you devolve from this King to the Page, and then doing work, accordingly, And now there's going to be this realization that, hey, maybe I missed out on something. Maybe I should have, taken the harder route, but it'll come back around. And so if you did it the more independent way, if you did it the harder way, necessary, or, it is, I'm not like, I'm just trying to differentiate the different flows, because there's this energy, there's the infinity energy, the 8 energy, and then there's this circling or drain energy, and then there's this chaining energy where you're building off. And this chaining energy is more related to the infinity path and not this. I guess I should do it this way, right? Because it's this way. And that's because originally I was going to do it when I was deciding which one would be 3 and which one would be 4. Or when I was deciding which would be 5 and which would be 6. Then I had to, no, it was the 3 and the 4. Because I looked at it at the 5 and the 6, but then I was like, well, maybe I want like 3 and 4 to work a different way. Because the 6 came out as 6. So I pretty much knew, like the 6 of swords was here. So I pretty much knew this was 6 and this had to be 5. But when it came to the 3 and the 4, there was something about this motion that I liked better than this. Because it's almost like this is tying a knot, right? You're tying a knot. This is closing something off. But this, I mean, honestly, it just, I don't know. It felt better this way. But if you've taken the page to the king approach instead of the king to the page approach, then you get this new life. This new life is about to unfold, unravel for you. And with this high priestess, there's an element of independence here. And again, that's why I call this the more independent route, because when you're seeking the information of someone else, seeking information from someone else, if you're seeking external information, it's like you're getting these high priestess adjacent sort of information channels, but you're not getting your own. And it's not that you can't use other people's information to navigate you in the way that you were supposed to go, but it involves more channels and there's more noise than if you had it yourself. And ultimately, at the end of the day, with Temperance and this star card, this is about creating a bridge between your higher and your lower consciousness. And the more independent you've been, the less outside resource you've sought, the more you've anchored into yourself. And so now with this devil sitting at the 6, this is almost like control or be controlled. But maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. This is interesting. Man, this has gone so many different directions. I kind of like this, though. I kind of really like this. Ace of Swords. This is the Ace of Swords part. Because it's like with death, it's like there was this transformation, but either from the page to the king, major transformation that really put bricks in the foundation, or there was this king to the page, like minor transformations that more or less kept you in the same ballpark. So the 6 is the way out and the updraft. This is interesting. The way out, the updraft, is this devil energy. Oh my gosh. The shadow. It's the shadow side in this deck. The shadow is the way out. The shadow is the way out of this game. The shadow is the 9. The shadow is what breaks the trap. And that's why, because I've been saying, like, the amount that your shadow is healed is how much light you can hold. And you can be a satellite and you can reflect someone or something else's light. But when it comes to holding your own light, and I've also been saying there are spaces that the shadow cannot exist in as a shadow. And I've also been talking about the luminous void, right? What does a luminous void mean? It's like a black hole, but it's a light hole instead of a black hole. And that's the potential that we hold when the shadow is on the same page, right? Because I was trying to, I don't know, it just like it came to me one day. And I just like kind of sort of saw this image, and it kind of sort of came at the same time when I saw like there's this a great source of light, but as you approach that light, your shadow gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But there's something about the light pulling the shadow into it and the shadow giving in to the light's pull, that instead of the shadow being a dark outline, it's like the shadow is a light outline, right? Instead of it like being like a shadow, it's the light. And that comes again like when we become stars instead of satellites, because instead of chasing a shadow, or instead of chasing the light, we perceive the light, and the light trails behind us, right? Just like as the sun moves through the sky, the light follows the sun as it moves. The light doesn't follow the moon. I mean, I guess it kind of sort of does, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so that's the way we escape. The shadow is the only escape. And that's why shadow work and inner child healing and all kinds of stuff like that has been so important, because the shadow is the escape. But if your shadow isn't aligned, or depending on how unaligned your shadow is, it's going to be how trapped in the cycle you sort of are. With the Two of Gabriel, lots of wands, lots of fire. With the Two of Gabriel at the cut, the Two of Gabriel is make bold and ambitious choices. Great progress is possible. Important relationships with people who share your vision. And so, if we're talking about important relationships with people who share our vision, again, that's getting the shadow on the same page. And that's aligning the two horses on the chariot to really make forward movement. If you've been able to get your shadow on the same page. But there's an interesting thing that happens when your shadow begins to hold light. And I guess I'm gonna kind of sort of speak from personal experience, and it's like it changes the dynamic of who holds what position at the round table. Because if you think about it in a certain way, it's like you have your higher self, higher aspects of yourself. You have your light side, your shadow, and then your inner child, depending on, and the assembly, it's different degrees depending on how much of you're in touch and in tune with, right? If you haven't gotten in touch with your inner child, then your inner child doesn't really participate at these. It more so distracts, right? It's like your inner child is the kid throwing a tantrum on the back of a Zoom call. It's like, mommy, can I get on camera? Like, mommy, can I do this? Like, not now, honey. Mommy's working. Like, I just watched that one show with Dan Levy that he made, and then Mariah Carey popped up when they sang Hero for the Teachers, and Mariah Carey pops up at the end, and her daughters are like, can I be on it? But anyway. It's just one way that it looks. And so, but anyway, there's something interesting that happens when your shadow starts to align with the light. It's that like your shadow returns all of your baggage to you instead of hanging on to it. And so then you really become the person who holds you back. And again, like there would be points when I would feel a certain way and I would try to turn to my shadow to try to get me to give up on something or to, go in a different direction. And my shadow would be like, no. My shadow would be like, no. I'm like, what? Excuse me? Like, you're the shadow. Like, this is literally your job. Like, you've done this all my life. now that I want you to cut something off, now that I want to sabotage, actively sabotage instead of passively or unknowingly self-sabotaging, like now that I intentionally want to do this, you refuse me? And my shadow was like, yeah, because I don't want that anymore. And so that's when you begin to approach realms that were previously unapproachable. Because the shadow is the key to doing that. And again, it's because our shadow holds so much weight when it comes to what we manifest in our reality. And like that's what I was talking about up here, I believe, when I was like, I think it was up here. When I was like, there we're like as above, so below, the law of attraction, thoughts become things. That's all about getting your subconscious mind to align with what you more consciously desire. And that's literally this. Wow. This was interesting. This went in so many directions. So many directions. But also I guess that's kind of sort of this Knight of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is sitting below the Knight of Pentacles. Hey, with the Queen of Pennies right here. Look at this, y'all. Look at that journey. Y'all see that? Look at that journey. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Love that. But that's what the Knight of Pentacles is all about. And that's this stepping stone. That's how you get to these stars. Oh my gosh. That was, oof. Okay. All right. See, that novelty deck, maybe like these cards are a joke, but, within a good joke, there's an ounce of truth, right? It's like satirical. Anyway, so I guess since I will give these cards the final, no, actually, I'm not. I'm just going to shut it down here. But I will get an I Ching to wrap us off with, because y'all know I love the I Ching, and I got to touch my SKTs. I should be using the Pride Tarot more, but, sorry. Oof, it is the month of July. July is already more than halfway over. Can y'all believe that? People are uploading mid-months. Like, I use, like, reading uploads to track time more than the calendar, right? Pretty soon, people are going to start throwing up July readings. I'm like, where did June go? Archangel of Healing. I love that. What is the second card? Where did January go? It's like this year is flying. Okay, there we go. Oh, goodness. Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. The whole new world. Birthed from this void space. Given instruction by your will. This is, oh look, there's the angel, Temperance, cutting right to her. So I was hoping that I would pull to the Eight of Orbs, the Journeyman, because the Journeyman talks about creating that orb, but the angel Temperance is just as well, because it's all about alchemy. And the bread of life, this is about baking, right? But if you don't have yeast or self-rising flour, your bread gonna be flat AF. And flatbread, I guess flatbreads are a thing, right? So we have the Archangel of Healing, the King of Cups. King of Cups energy is here twice. Archangel of Healing and Apocalypse, Judgment. So Judgment is here twice. Judgment is here twice. The King of Cups is here twice. So, I feel like that energy is pretty self-explanatory. The Archangel of Healing can only do so much for you. You have to do some of the heaviest lifting yourself. I love this. And I didn't even timestamp this when I came back from the bathroom. So I'll say about 50 minutes because it was like 48. And then I will go back and put that in the description. I will double check. Actually, before I shut this down, I'm going to click in so I can come back on the app before it finishes uploading. Because if I don't, then it's more of a root around hassle for me. So, let me do this real quick, and then I can just watch it on my phone and see exactly where it was. I love this webcam's microphone for the simple fact that Opal Oracle, girl, where you been 2 hours ago? Oh, snap, Cancer. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Ghostbusters. And she got Stonehenge up here. Now, are we going into like mid-month or July territory with these, or is this still June? Oh, yes, it's new because she already did Cancer for June. I'm so excited. I have found people that I am excited to watch. Anyway, I Ching, that's what I got my phone out for. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. It's 5:54. I've been seeing lots of fives lately, too. 2s, 3s, and 5s. I've actually been seeing 222 more lately as well. And that didn't used to be one of the ones that hit for me too much. I got 5,154 unread emails. So, that's a 555 if we add the 1 to the 4. So, let's see. Excuse me. Y'all know I'm over here watching the clock too. Oh, I was about to say I can't see the clock in my book app. Oh, snap. That's not what I wanted to do. Hello? There we go. Go to the I Ching, invert the colors. This has been the longest minute of my life. There we go. 555. I was like, this has been the longest minute ever. Ever. I tell you. When you watch the clock, things go slower. So that's a message about the High Priestess and the Three of Wands as well. And Temperance, If you're watching the clock, if you're just waiting, you're missing out on precious moments that you could be living. So King of Cups and Judgment. Upper trigram is going to be Judgment. And lower trigram is going to be the King of Cups. So this puts us at Thunder over Water. That sounds like a dangerous combination if you're in the water. Because water conducts electricity. Ooh. Thunder over Water is electric. I actually got an electronic set yesterday on Animal Crossing. Thunder over Water is also the spark that ignites the ashes of the phoenix. And that goes back to a few days ago. I don't remember exactly when that came out. But there was the ashes of the phoenix lie at the bottom of a body of water. And so as this divine bolt of thunder goes down to strike these ashes, the phoenix has that much time to catch the spark, reignite, and to rise forth before the water comes rushing back in. Literally in the blink of an eye, you need to reignite and be reborn and out of the water. Because if you wait any longer than that, the water is going to come back in, and the ashes aren't going to be able to catch a spark at the bottom of the ocean. And number 40, this is number 40, Deliverance, which is interesting because it's about delivering that phoenix from the depths of their despair, maybe. Maybe an ocean of your tears and your sadness. This is redemption, deliverance, and release of tension. This is Jie. When your endeavor has not been completed, do not procrastinate. Bring it to completion. When your endeavor has been completed, a prompt return to stability will bring you good fortune. Do not bask in the afterglow of glory. Go straight back to work. What you contemplate doing, proceed with. You will outsmart even the smart. You hunt rather than run. Sever ties with those who bring you sorrow. In your endeavor, you encounter naysayers. Cut yourself loose from their hold over you. The untying of a knot, the unraveling of a complication. And that's interesting because I just talked about how it kind of sort of felt like a knot if I would have done it like that, right? There's a lot of stuff that came up with that. Lots of stuff. Also, we have this devil energy here. So, but this is something that we have to do for ourselves. I feel like Spirit's been, maybe it's just me, so I guess I can't speak for everyone, but when it comes to my personal experience, I've noticed that Spirit has been kind of hands off since late January, early February. And that's why I've been talking about, Spirit has given us the keys and it's time for us to drive. And I think we're going to be, if we're not already in those times where it's going to be more important, or it's going to be more apparent, you know, how important it is for us to drive ourselves rather than to be carrying along with everyone else. Right. And so, interesting. Because I just thought about Queen Cup's Pisces reading for February. Or was it for March? It might have been for March. I think it was actually for March. And she was talking about how there were so many people going down in these submarines to claim their truth, to claim their power, to reclaim their swords, and then they'll be resurfacing and going to battle, right? And then, in March, the whole world was plunged into their own depths. So it's all very interesting. Some people would claim healing in that time, deep healing, through facing all of the uncomfort and going through these own internal judgments and apocalypses, so that when we go through a major one, they're in a better position because they've already worked through that, handled that within themselves. But also, don't bask in the afterglow of your glory. Don't bask in the afterglow of your victory, is what I was kind of getting at when I was like, progress is continuous. We're continuously moving. So if you ever reach a point where you feel like you've done enough to slow down, you're dangerously close to falling off. And so I'm going to leave these two at the top. I'm going to get a final message from the rest of these, and then I will shut this down and hopefully find me something to eat because I'm hungry. I want some good food. Some like good food. Y'all ever want, like, there are some times where you could be hungry and you like just want something to eat, but then there are some times where like you're hungry and you want something good to eat. And so even if you eat food that doesn't satisfy your palate, it's like you can still be hungry because it's like, I don't know. That was me the other day, and I still ain't had nothing good to eat. And my mom made chicken noodle soup the other day, and usually chicken noodle soup be like on point. Usually when she make it, I'm like, okay, if I ever have somebody over, it may be a little unorthodox, but you're making chicken noodle soup. And I told her that. But for some reason, it wasn't doing it the other night. And I don't know what that was about. So I still want something good to eat. And I might not get it today. But you know what? I am going to change that. I am going to get something amazing to eat. And it's going to be delectable, delicious, and nutritious. What is that? What is it? Yeah, it's just nutritious. There's a song that popped into my head. How does it start? I could save you from distress if you give me a chance, and I would give you the best if you say that I'm your man. Ooh, I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs, and I purposefully deleted it, but I don't have access to it anymore, and I want it. I want that song. Ooh, I shouldn't have. I want to listen to that song, but I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I shouldn't have. I'm not gonna say I shouldn't have deleted it because Anyway, that song just popped into my mind. So good times. Just take my hand. I'll lead the way. I'll show you good in a million ways. Okay. Final card, final card, final card, final card. Oh, Michael. Ace of Michael. Ace of Swords. Bottom of the deck is Solutions. Temperance has been popping out all over the place. Temperance again. It would have been funny if it was Death, but you know, it's one after. Solutions, Archangel Zadkiel. Success that comes from objective compromise, self-control and patience, and forgiving and healing energy. So more forgiving, more healing energy at the very least. We had lots of healing energy come up at the same time. We started off with healing energy, and we ended up with the shadow. Right? So there's almost this feeling of it's like there's this cosmic wave of healing energy coming in, but it's like it has the ability to penetrate deeply and uproot things that have been compacted and pressed down over many, many, many years. But if we don't allow that energy to permeate and to get down there, then maybe that's where we get this high priestess insight into something. But depending on our level of comfort with that level of healing, maybe we haven't necessarily done it. Ace of Michael. A wonderful new idea. Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress. Clear up communication problems with others. So maybe some of these solutions will come to us after we clear up communication. I don't know. So if there's someone that you need to talk to, maybe it's time to stop distracting and running and just have that conversation. Maybe, perhaps, wild idea. Just throwing that out there, you know? Because it's like there are some people who have a calling on their lives. And it is so important for you to be in alignment with your calling. And it's sometimes it's like, you know, the greater the calling, the more difficult the past, right? Sometimes, you know, the greater the heights you'll reach, the greater the lows you've experienced. As above, so below. Sometimes that is the case. And it is so important that some of us get to the spaces that we get to, that we will not be permitted to really move in any other direction. And so there's lots of reasons why you may be experiencing bits of feeling slowed, or that some things may be delayed. There are many reasons why that could happen. But also at the same time, if you were called for a specific thing, if you chose that, I don't know how far you'll get without doing it. So, I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Ooh, 4 of pennies and the 4 of wands. There's the 44. Wow. Bottom of the deck, 5 of cups. So 4 of pentacles and the 4 of wands. What's the top of the deck? The 3 of wands. I'm going to give this a few more shuffles, actually, because I don't know how well I shuffled this. Cutting to the sun card. I don't know how well I shuffled this after I put all the cards back together. So this isn't about being called to reach out to anybody. This is a calling on your life, right? This is you being called to a certain. Ooh, the devil and the hermit at the cut. Whoa. Yeah, this is a calling on your life. This is the spaces that you're being called to grow into. This is growth and healing that you need to do. Now we got the hermit with that 10 of cups. And so it's not for us. Oh, because you're talking about what I was talking about before when I was like, clear up communication issues. Well, sometimes the communication issues that we need to clear up, that can also be internal. Communication issues is any time that a message is not getting through, right? And so it could be that maybe we have shadow aspects that are trying to communicate their pain to us through several or different ways. And maybe it's for us to listen to them and to begin to do that healing that was present with solutions to heal them, to heal aspects of ourselves. Or it could be ways that, again, it could be somebody outside of us that we need to reach out to clear something up. And it may not necessarily be to continue something, but it's maybe some closure. So it could be communication in any way. Clearing up communication could also be putting yourself in a space to align with what your higher self is trying to tell you, to align with what spirit is trying to tell you, to align with what the universe is trying to tell you, to align with what the ancestors are trying to tell you, to align with what the angels are trying to tell you, right? On any level. That could also be clearing up communication because there may be problems in our own lives that, of course, spirit would have the answer to. And maybe spirit is trying to communicate those solutions to us. But since we're not in a space where we can more clearly receive that information, that could be a call for us to do that, right? So it doesn't necessarily. I did make it seem like somebody that we need to clear something up with before we can move on. But that communication can happen in several ways, and so I wouldn't necessarily get caught up on a physical 3D person because it could be aspects of yourself that are trying to communicate with you, or it could be spirit trying to communicate with you. Either way, we need to open up those lines of communication to begin to elevate and shift and bring things into balance and harmony. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Thank you for saying that so I could clear that up really quick. Because I don't want somebody to get hung up just on the fact that, there isn't anybody in my 3D that I need to talk to, so I'm good. Because it could be the case that there's, it may not be a person that you need to communicate with. It could be somebody or something else. It could be somebody or something else trying to communicate with you at the same time. But if you're not receptive to it, you're not going to get it. So maybe be a little bit more receptive. Oh, snap. Well, Mercury was in shadow. Was Mercury in shadow? Let me stop. Mercury retrogrades tonight, I think. Tonight. It may be like 11 p.m. Central. Actually, let me see. Because I think it was really, 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 really early tomorrow that Mercury retrogrades. But I think it's actually tonight that it happens and not like tomorrow as if it'll be midday. So in less than 12 hours, I believe. Let me see. Let me check real quick. This is something new. Casper Slide Part 2. It's time to get funky, funky. Why did that just pop into my mind? Clap, 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 clap your hands. Oh, there goes my brain. Okay, let me see. So, in 5 hours and 47 minutes, Mercury will be stationing retrograde. So, 5 hours and 47 minutes. My technology, this computer already trying to act up. Like, you don't want to let me do my homework, but you'll let me stream and you'll let me watch YouTube. Okay. I'll take it. Yeah. And the Holy See, it's interesting because before the last few months, I don't think the Holy See popped out in the SKT that much. But the energy of the Holy See, that Hierophant keeps coming out. And that's what the entry for the Hierophant says. It's been coming out here recently too. And it's about going beyond what, it's about hearing the voice of spirit for yourself so that you can go beyond and get to where you actually need to be. And so, yeah, that card's been coming out a lot. So it may actually be that. Thank you for bringing that up again as well. It may actually be that. Yeah. But here we have the Four of Wands and we have the Four of Pentacles. And so it's like you can't feed anything with a clenched fist. And so there's a misconception of what true vulnerability is. I feel like I don't know. Well, I can kind of sort of feel what it would be, but there's a misconception of what true vulnerability is, and you have to be vulnerable to claim this Four of Wands energy, but you don't have to be open to be taken advantage of. Right? It's like just because someone isn't telling you something doesn't mean that they're not vulnerable. Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Seven of Wands came out a few times yesterday, I believe. I don't remember. Um, but it's like the Seven of Wands is an energy of advantage, but the war is not over. It's like, yes, you do have the upper hand, but the fight is, three staves from being over. Um, and the Seven of Souls came out. I don't remember when that came out, but I remember it came out. And I remember saying stuff like seven is a spiritual number. It's a number of wisdom and intellect. It's a number of devoting time to something. And so maybe with the Seven of Wands on the bottom, it could be the case that there's an element of preparation that has happened over many lifetimes. And going back to the calling that you have on your life, a lot of people supposedly have incarnated now for a purpose and for a reason. And when the night is darkest, the light of the stars is needed the most. And during all of these during this eclipse season, where the new moon and the full moon will both be lunar eclipses, even when the moon was full, it was still in the shadow. And so it's almost like, again, it's time for us to embody the light and to stop reflecting it. But, I say that as if everyone is on the same path, and not everyone is on the same path, and not everyone will reach the same heights. And again, it's relative. It's not absolute. And so, you can be 50,000 feet in the air, but if you start 49,999 feet, then you've only progressed a foot. And so that doesn't really hold much. That doesn't really mean much. It's all progressive again. And it's a cumulative progression, but it's also a relative progression at the same time. And so that's why it's important that, like, even when you reach the 10, you begin a new cycle. There aren't really any cards of rest, because once you reach completion, it's all about starting something anew, right? And so it's not about, like with the Four of Wands. Okay, with the Four of Wands, it is about celebrating the minor milestones in life. But with that Four of Pentacles, it's also about, realizing that the work is far from over. And it may be a time to find ways to celebrate that still give you spaces of acknowledgement and recognition. But we may be in this period of work where it's more important, or not more important, but it's also it's like, don't party too hard because you still have work to do, right? Don't get blackout drunk to the point where you can't even function at work tomorrow because you got to go to work tomorrow, right? There may be a weekend after the solar eclipse, right? Mercury is about to go retrograde. Neptune is about to go retrograde. We're about to have the solar eclipse. It's just a few days of work. Cancer season is upon us. It's in a few days. So, yeah. Oh, snap. Well, then there's the Seven of Wands, karmic debts. Seven of Wands will be karmic debts now. And those are the Six Wands coming for you. All right. Well, this is everything I have today. Thank you, Mimi, for stopping in. It was fun. Thank you if you've watched me build the spread. Thank you for visiting. I appreciate your view, I guess. I appreciate your time, and it is such an honor and a blessing to do whatever I can do for this collective. And I know I complain about the collective a lot because I feel like the collective makes me work a lot in the dream time, astrally, emotionally. But ever since the lunar eclipse, I've been fairly chill on my side. So thanks for letting me sleep. It's on y'all now. Let me stop. No problem. But yeah, it honestly is. There is so much. I guess there are things that I feel like I'm now beginning to see validated in so many different ways and in so many different avenues and media mediums, um, that is very interesting. Um, so it's very, very, very interesting. And it makes me happy to see that as I regain my faith, or as I regained my faith in humanity, humanity has shown me things to be proud of. Ways that I feel like we're actually progressing and moving forward. So that's cool. So keep up the good work if you're out there doing good work, and keep up the bad work, I guess, if it's your job to play some kind of karmic role that wakes somebody else up. So I don't know. I hope y'all have whatever time y'all want to have, and I will catch y'all next time I catch y'all. Maybe later tonight, might be tomorrow, might be next week. Who knows? You know?